going on, my dear Kumquats? Welcome back to another video. Today we are talking about the Isle of Armor DLC for Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now, the Isle of Armor is a first part DLC in which you pay $30 to get part 1 and part 2. Part 1 came out last Wednesday as of the recording of this video. And then the Crown Tundra DLC comes out later in the fall of 2020. Now, the Isle of Armor was probably one of the most disappointing things of all time. I was actually considering doing a full-fledged review on this, but after playing it, it just isn't worth it. So this is more of a impressions than a review, but it's not first impressions either. It's just what I felt during and after the playthrough. Now, after talking with my friend, we both were able to complete this DLC in about an hour and a half's worth of time. That's absolutely pathetic. Now, there's spoilers to this, but honestly, anything that you've already seen in the trailers is pretty much what I'm going to tell you now. So, once you get to the Isle of Armor, you get to this dojo with Mustard, and you basically have to complete 3 tasks. They're really simple, they don't take much time at all. Each task is maybe like 5 to 10 minutes, and then afterwards you are able to get 𝐓𝐡𝐢𝐬. At that point, you're supposed to level up 𝐓𝐡𝐢𝐬 and get his friendship level high enough so that you guys can take on either the Tower of Darkness or the Tower of Water. Now, I don't know if that's exactly the names of those towers, but essentially that's just what you're gonna do. And then when you get to the top of the tower, you are able to face off against Mustard and his 𝐓𝐡𝐢𝐬, and then which you get to evolve your 𝐓𝐡𝐢𝐬 if you would like to evolve them into whichever variant you chose. If you chose the dark, you get the dark fighting type. If you chose the water, you get the water fighting type. That's what I did. I thought the water one was cooler. If you guys were sticking around with the channel for so long that you know I was like, ooh, the water one looks really cool. So of course I took on the water one. So yeah, and I also found out that if you're going after the dark one, it's going to be super easy. You don't need to level up 𝐓𝐡𝐢𝐬 that much because you're already fighting type and you're able to super effectively, take care of the dark types pretty easily. So yeah, if you want an easier time, even though you could just use, extra large candies or whatever, you can get 𝐓𝐡𝐢𝐬 up to level 80 or whatever in no time. But anyways, that's just pretty much the whole Isle of Armor DLC. It was super disappointing in its length, and honestly, even with the open world aspect of which it has, it's just not worth it. Now, the area of the Isle of Armor is kind of impressive. It's definitely bigger than the wild area, and it has a lot of exploration to it, except for that there are no trainers except for just random NPCs that, well, if you give them 100 watts or something, they'll do something for you. That's, like see a Pokedex entry or dig up stuff from the ground or something like that. There's no one out there to battle. Literally, the only trainers that you battle are your rival and Mustard. And that's pretty sad. This area is huge. Why isn't there more people to battle? Now, with the Isle of Armor DLC, there was something of 100 plus Pokemon that were added back into the game. This also becomes a question of why weren't these Pokemon in the base game? Well, it was apparent that they were definitely planning on doing something like this, because we know Pokemon likes to keep things fresh. By taking a look at the Pokemon trading card game, their most profitable source of income, we can see that Pokemon likes to slowly and incrementally add new Pokemon to their lineup. So what better way of doing that than by pushing out more and more Pokemon as the years go by to the current game. And we're not talking new Pokemon, these are all old Pokemon. I thought that maybe they would have included more different variants like the Galarian Slowpoke, but nope, nowhere to be seen. That's pretty much it. That's the only variant that you get. Oh, and 𝐓𝐡𝐢𝐬 and its evolutions. Yeah, I'm pretty conflicted because this DLC, right, for $15, yes, you can say it is worth it. You can say that it's worth it because of the scope, how big that the map is, how much, items that you can just pick up. I mean, I don't care about items. I mean, if you're a competitive player, maybe even if you were a competitive player, because I mean, I was competitive for a little while, just, the start of the whole, like when the game came out, I went to a couple tournaments, but you already have all the items that you want in the base game. There really is no reason to have anything else. There's evolutionary items that are scattered around, of course, for the Pokemon that they added in. But yeah, there's so many items on the map that it just seems ridiculous. There's different sections of the map that, of course, there's like a desert area, there's a forest area, a swamp area. It's cool in that aspect, and the Pokemon that are there definitely are, supposed to be in that environment. but man, it is just a barren like wasteland. You have the Pokemon walking around, sure there are items and stuff, but that's it. That is pretty much it. Now, something that I didn't notice in the base game that was very apparent in the Isle of Armor DLC was the camera angle. That camera really sucks, because they included in the Isle of Armor DLC a little fun minigame, quote unquote fun minigame, that you get to go around and find 150 Alolan Digletts. What does finding all those Alolan Digletts do, you ask? Well, pretty much just give you a Alolan variant Pokemon. If you are a completionist and you really want to complete that Pokedex, you get to have even more fun. Now, the idea of finding these Alolan Digletts, yes, it is good, but the way it was executed is really poor. There are a ton of Alolan Digletts, 150, that are scattered all over the map, and they all have just tiny 3 little hairs poking out. Now, this would be fine, except for their little pebbles scattered all over the map. They look just like little Digletts. It's ridiculous. Like, you thought the trees were bad? This is just so annoying. It is so stupid. I found probably like 90 of these Digletts just by like doing the main game. But man, it was so excruciating. Like, just because it tells you when you're in a section of the map, it tells you, oh, there's 15 more in this area, which is nice. But when you're doing that and you have like 1 or 2 more left and you're like, this is so dumb, and you keep going around and around and around, and you're looking in this area and you're like, nope, that's that pebble. That's that pebble. It's so dumb. Yes, it's a thing that they added. They didn't have to add it. But honestly, it just seemed like it's not that fun. It is not fun at all. Let me step back. Obviously I'm coming off pretty negative, but let me talk about the positives here. The map is huge, and that's great in that aspect, but the negative part of that is what we already talked about. There's nothing here. There's nothing except for new Pokemon, or not new Pokemon, old Pokemon, and just items that you don't really need. More Pokemon is great. It's gonna be good for competitive people. I think people are still excited to have more Pokemon in the game. More variants is always good, I would imagine, but maybe not, I don't know. And the addition of Kubfu, you know, some people hate him. I actually kind of like him. He was pretty cute. The cutscene when you finish going to the top of the tower is one of the most cutest cutscenes I've seen from Pokemon in a long time. It is so adorable. I actually almost didn't evolve him just because how adorable that was. Kubfu is a cool Pokemon, and don't you ever say that he's not, because he is. Now, it's pretty plain to see, guys, that I did not have any sort of excitement of talking about this game, but it had to be done. I didn't even go out of my way to record footage for this. I didn't want to go back and play the game. And that's really sad. Like I said, I'm conflicted because the amount of map and exploration that you get for $15 is okay. I wouldn't say it's like worth your money, but man, it's really frustrating. It's frustrating the fact that you paid $15 for this. The main game was $60, so at this point you've paid $75 without taxes, of course, on an hour and a half worth of gameplay. Like, for the casual gamer, like, I'm just talking casual gamer. I'm not even sure if you were to complete like getting all the Digletts and all that. I think that's it. I think if you were to complete the Isle of Armor, it's, you know, doing the main story, which is an hour and a half, you know, catching all the Pokemon of the Pokédex. That might take you, I mean, if you're consistently like grinding away, probably like 6 hours maybe at the most, and maybe a couple more hours for all the Digletts if you're just going to town looking for all the Digletts. I mean, okay. I mean, what is that? 8.5, 9 hours or so of gameplay. Okay, that's okay. That's $15. Okay, I can see that, but is any of that fun? The story is supposed to be the main thing, and that was super lackluster. Exploring the map is the other thing that might be fun, but like I said, there's really nothing here. Honestly, I think the Isle of Armor is just here to set my expectations low for Crown Tundra, and then I'm gonna be super pleased with Crown Tundra, because between the two DLCs, the Crown Tundra looks like the better one. You know, there's more things to explore. We got these Reggies and their tombs where you have all these puzzles. You have the legendary bird trio, and that seems more exciting to me than this. Like, no matter what it's gonna be, like if it's gonna be just like as big a map and as just, you know, as much story, that's still gonna be more exciting than this. After playing this, anything could be really more exciting than this, but honestly, I'll be super dumbfounded if the Crown Tundra is worse than this. Let me know in the comments, what did you enjoy about the Isle of Armor DLC? Oh, and here's another thing. You can walk with your Pokemon only in the Isle of Armor. That's a new thing that they added. It wasn't an update. You have to buy the Isle of Armor, and you can only walk with your Pokemon on that island. Why? Why can't you do that on the main game? I don't understand. That feature in itself should not have even been a part of the DLC. That feature should have just been a free update, a quality of life update. Hey guys, here, times are tough. You know, if you can't buy the DLC for whatever reason, you know what? Here, whoever bought the DLC, here you go. Here's some more DLC. But you know what? If you can't buy the DLC, you know, you can have some fun times by walking around with your Pokemon or something. Yeah, I don't know. I think I might just be getting jaded from Pokemon, but that's just not the case because I still get excited about other Pokemon stuff. I'm getting excited about Pokemon Snap on Switch. You know, I'm getting excited about Pokemon stuff, but just they've been letting me down. Pokemon Sword and Shield, they let me down. This Isle of Armor DLC, they've just been missing the mark lately on the video game, and it's very frustrating. It's like they know they're going to sell a ton, and they can just coast and coast and coast. You know, they'll say, hey, we're gonna produce the best possible that we can. They're just gonna keep throwing out that one-liner, and they're just gonna keep coasting until, you know, there's major fan backlash. And even then, even when we had backlash about the national decks, nothing happened. Nothing happened, man. You guys were here for the live streams. I was pumped. I was pumped to get back into this game, give it a whack, give it a whirl, and now I'm back at Animal Crossing because dang it, this was so boring. It was so boring. I would say it wasn't worth the $15, but it is what it is. We'll just have to see what Crown Tundra is, and maybe that'll be good. Sorry I was such a whiny whippersnapper about the whole thing, but really, you just gotta relay your disappointment every once in a while, and I like to be the positive guy, but it's just not that kind of day to be positive. So let me know in the comments, did you like Isle of Armor? Did you not like Isle of Armor? Let's be civil about it in the comments, because quite honestly, I don't think anybody will comment, but if you do, be civil. If you haven't already done so, please click that like button and hit subscribe for future videos. And until next time, I'll see you in the next one. Peace!